Hello friends. On 8 March 2014, at 12:42 in the morning, Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur. This flight was headed to Beijing. There were 227 passengers on this flight, 10 flight attendants, and 2 pilots flying this plane. One of them was Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah, 53 years old, one of the senior-most captains in Malaysian Airlines, and First Officer Farik Hamid, 27 years old. It was a training flight for him. This flight flied in the correct direction for about 20 minutes. But at 1:08 in the morning, this flight crossed the Malaysian coastline and reached above the South China Sea, in the direction of Vietnam. Zahari reported that the plane was at 35,000 feet. Everything was running normally. About 11 minutes later, the airplane entered the jurisdiction of the Vietnamese air traffic. That's why the air traffic control of Kuala Lumpur radios the airplane saying, "Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh." Captain Zahari answered by saying,
"Good night, MAS 370.
Everything is normal till this point in time. But these words by Captain Zahari were the last words from this airplane. After this, there was no news from this flight. The Malaysian Airlines flight disappeared suddenly, and this became the biggest aviation mystery in the world. It was 1:21 a.m. in the morning. The air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur didn't notice this, and when they do, they thought that the plane had flown out of the range of their radar and had entered Vietnam's airspace. So, there's nothing unusual. On the other hand, the air traffic control in Vietnam saw that the MH370 entered their airspace, but disappeared from their radar suddenly. They tried to communicate with the plane, but there was no response from the other side. After repeatedly trying for 18 minutes, Vietnamese controllers informed Kuala Lumpur that MH370 had disappeared suddenly. It was 6:32 in the morning. This was the time by when the airplane should have landed in Beijing, but it did not land. A search operation was called immediately. Efforts began to find the plane. If you look at the map, the plane was flying from Malaysia to Beijing. Vietnam lies in the middle, as well as the South China Sea. So obviously, the search operation began in the South China Sea to look for the plane. This search operation was an international effort. 34 ships and 28 aircraft from 7 different countries tried to look for this plane that morning, but there was no trace of the plane. About 4 days later, on 12 March, it was reported that though the plane had disappeared from the civilian radar, but a military radar had spotted the plane that night, and surprisingly, according to this military radar, this plane was last seen at 2:22 in the morning. But it wasn't located above the South China Sea. Rather, it was near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, westward from Malaysia, above the Strait of Malacca. And according to the readings of this military radar, this plane was flying north in the direction of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the other way from Beijing. This news left everyone shocked. Where did this plane go? Did it fly towards India's direction and crash in the Himalayas or in Kazakhstan? Several days later, new evidence surfaced from satellite data. It was found that the plane was trying to automatically communicate with a satellite. It only attempted to log in without transmitting its location. Despite this limitation, investigators aimed to leverage this information to estimate the plane's location within a designated circle. As I said earlier, the exact location couldn't be determined with the help of the satellite, but it could be used to estimate that this circle that you see in white color, the plane could be anywhere within this circle. And it was really surprising because this circle was huge. The plane could be anywhere in the last circle, or perhaps further than this. After this, the investigators did more calculation with the speed of the plane, the remaining fuel in the plane, and then estimated that the plane could be in the shaded area of the circle. It was famously called the 7 Arc. This 7 Arc is 2,000 km west of Australia and occupies a large expansive area. After this, several search operations were called the yellow shaded regions, show you the places where the search operations were conducted. And the orange area is the priority search area, where the greatest number of search operations were conducted. In April 2014, surface search operations for the crash plane were halted due to their lack of success. Recognizing the likelihood of the plane sinking, deep ocean searches commenced. Despite weeks, months, and years of effort, the search, costing $160 million, ultimately proved futile. However, a glimmer of hope emerged in July 2015, when the first debris, a flaperon, reached the island of Reunion. In 2018, a new search operation, led by Ocean Infinity and contracted by the Malaysian government, commenced with a no-find, no-fee agreement. Equipped with advanced underwater vehicles, the operation, focused on mapping the ocean floor, continued for months, but ended without success. Let's talk about some theories revolving around MH370. Background checks on passengers and pilots led to theories about the plane's disappearance. It includes suspicions against Captain Zahari Shah, but rejected due to his esteemed reputation. A hijacking theory involving 2 Iranian passengers, later dismissed by Interpol. The most plausible theory suggests oxygen deficiency, causing the plane to crash into the ocean after flying on autopilot. Other wild theories lacked credibility. In 2022, Richard Godfrey claimed to locate the plane using radio waves, proposing a new search operation within a 40 nautical miles radius. This theory is also supported by drift analysis. Till date, 27 pieces of the plane have already been found on several islands across the world, so perhaps, in the near future, we may get to uncover the mystery about what might have happened. I hope that you found this video informative. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you liked this video, then you would also want to watch the full story of miraculous landing of the JetBlue Flight 292.